What are the top three challenges you're facing in the industry?
Regulatory complexities, you have infrastructure gaps, you have cold chain is pretty different. It's in fact, cold chain is seasonal at times, so you have to match your abilities, your talent, your expertise, your planning. You have an opportunity, but yes, you have you have real challenges, but at the same time you have real opportunities available where you can really uh, you know modernize the infrastructure. You with cost inflations and all that, when you try to localize or you try to find a local players, those stringent types of compliances or standards limit your options to, as you said, the big role in this is people actually. So you have a people with old mindsets or doesn't want to be upgrade themselves or modernize themselves or adopting the new technology. So that's
But if I ask you this question, how much of AI you're using in your business right now?
This video is brought to you by us, SCM Dojo. We provide awesome courses, guides, best practices for supply chain community.
Hi folks, welcome to one more episode of the Supply Chain Show. Today we're gonna talk with one of the industry leaders in food and restaurant industry, and where we will talk about what the challenges and opportunities given what's happening with the tariffs, the high commodity prices, inflation, and especially Middle East, which is very much focused on hospitality and so on and so forth. So I have Mr. Zubair, who is a senior supply chain director of Americana Restaurants. The company has been recently publicly listed, so that brings in more challenges. So, welcome to the show, Mr. Zubair. How are you?
Thank you, Mother. I'm fine. How are you?
Cool, cool. Now, I'm very well, very well. Thank you for joining this show. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. So I just want to quickly start with what are the top three challenges you're facing in the industry?
So, just to give a brief intro of my company, very short. So, I represent Americana Restaurants, which is, as you said, listed company. We present in 12 countries, covering Middle East, Levant, North Africa, and CIS countries. So, we have um, total of multiple franchises, which big ones are KFC, Pizza Hut, Hardee's, Krispy Kreme, TGI Fridays, and few others, serving almost more than 2,500, 2,600 restaurants. The restaurant industry in Western world and Middle East and all the countries where we are present is very different. So basically, you have regulatory complexities, you have infrastructure gaps, you have cold chain is pretty different. It's in fact, cold chain is seasonal at times. Your supply landscape is not that developed as compared to Western world. Again, the talent and technology is gearing up. Yes, it is. So some countries are pretty much even advanced than Western, but some countries are behind as well. So you have to match your abilities, your talent, your expertise, your planning, and all those things, aligning with all those challenges because we are present in multiple countries. The countries like UAE, KSA, Qatar, these countries are, in a very advanced level of technology as well as infrastructure as well as supplier base and all that. But there are countries where still there is infrastructure gaps and all that. So yes, so for us, there is, if I have to sum it up, you have a regulatory complexity, you have infrastructure gaps or ultra modern hubs are not available, cold chain reliability, like such as frozen facilities or dry facilities and or temperature control facilities. Then supplier landscape itself in the entire all the countries is an opportunity. So yes, having said all that, basically you have an opportunity, but yes, you have you have real challenges, but at the same time you have real opportunities available where you can really uh, you know modernize the infrastructures and all that. So to ensure that you succeed and you can compete with Western world. So it's a pretty different supply chain model which works in this region and which works in Western world. So that's
That's, I think, very well said. But you mentioned at the start that Americana Food is generally franchising KFC and other brand names you mentioned.
Yeah.
I never worked in the food industry, but my understanding is if you are franchisee, right, they are responsible for most of the supply chain, especially supplying the equipment, the power, say the materials, the food materials, and so on and so forth. How so doesn't it? So it brings opportunity, of course, brings stability. Uh, does it bring some challenges as well?
Definitely, actually, yes. When there is an opportunity that your sourcing is sorted, where obviously as a franchisor, they will ensure that the product needs to be approved by them, supplier base should be available, and all that. But that also limits through the standards which they follow. And then what happen is that you with cost inflations and all that, when you try to localize or you try to find a local players, those stringent types of compliances or standards limit your options to find it locally, or you are forced to import and all those stuff. And then that kicks in your tariffs and all that, and you have to do smart, you have to work smart, you have to find smart solutions, you have to be on JITs, and so um, and the world is changing. I mean, and this industry itself is changing. When you talk about restaurant industry, and I will talk about the traditional supply chain of restaurant, which it used to be, is now much different when you talk about now. So I have been in this industry for almost 25 years, work with
Wow.
KFCs and Burger Kings and a lot other franchisees. So that's my passion also, this industry. So I never moved out of this industry. The way things were planned previously was like, Excel sheets and spreadsheets and very good spreadsheets and all those kind of stuff. You can, or you were able to manage the business maybe 5 6 years back on those manual processes, or you can say on the very complicated or expert oriented Excel sheets, or Excel modules and all that. But the way things are moving now, the globalization impacts, it is necessary that you should have your streamlined processes. Your basically your risk should be anticipated much earlier than before, and now you need to be on your toes. I mean, you are not, as you are not actually, supply chain is not a support function anymore, it's basically your sales growth function, because you need to be on your toes, you need to be available for your sales, you need to be available for your operations. And as you know, nowadays your this e-commerce platform has changed the dynamics, all of a sudden, where if things used to be okay, you launched in the store and it will start creeping up slowly and people will know about it. Now it's a digital age, things spreads to millions of people in an hour or less than an hour, and then your demands, so restaurant demands get are much volatile now as compared to before, so your supply chain needs to be needs to be agile enough to adopt these changes. This is very important thing, which lots of operators still don't understand, and they as you said, the big role in this is people, actually. So you have a people with old mindsets, or doesn't want to be upgrade themselves or modernize themselves or adopting the new technology. So any organization who is not doing that now, they will be having a lot more challenges in future, because this is not going to stop. This is going to keep on increasing, and adoption of the technology, and specifically now AI is everywhere. So adoption of that, if you are not planning it from now and you wait that all other will implement and then I will start, you will miss the boat.
Yeah, I think you're moving to a very interesting area. So I'm gonna come to AI people shortly, but I want to emphasize on the point you made on the supply chain as a sales enabler. So I did a keynote in Estonia in May 29, 28, that how supply chain is a sales enabler, right? Because a product innovation is getting very limited. You can only innovate so much. Now it's about the innovation in the supply chain, that supply chains are meeting or competing with supply chains, right? So reducing agility, improving resilience, and how you are designing your supply chain who are customer centric, right? Because generally what happens is you have a supply chain, you start a business of whatever years ago, and people just assume that's the design without
Yeah.
thinking whatever if the customer needs are changing, their generation is changing. You know how you used to serve, Gen X and all that. Now you Gen Zs, they have a different mindset. So you really need to these are supply chain. It's a longer discussion, but then I'm this whole people issue. So I lived in Middle East myself 6 years. I was head of supply chain in Bridgestone. And now the AI, you said, oh, AI is everywhere. Right. Yeah, everybody thinks AI is everywhere. But if I ask you this question, how much of AI you're using in your business right now? Like,
See, basically, so basically, everybody is after AI, but there are some prerequisites for AI. I mean, it's not that you, okay, I adopt AI and I started using from tomorrow, or you start using AI on any platform and anything. And if somebody is doing it, they might, might have a very rocky road, or, they struggle and ultimately they give up. So, what you need to do first is to set your base. You need to, so AI is all about data, so basically it's not generating something on its own. It is reading from your data and reading from your processes, and from that they are generating ideas or simplifying work for you, right? So it is very important that anybody who's adopting it, they need to first ensure, first key thing, the ecosystem of the data. So data needs to be together on similar platform, or or if it's in a different platforms, it needs to be synchronized in a way that the AI can best use of it. So for us, basically, we were working for an year or two to synchronize our processes, get a top notch system, uh, and implementation of ERP or processes on MRP. As I said, that traditionally people used to do planning on Excel sheets, and until today, if you, I'll not name the brands, but you go to any big brands, they are still on Excel. So and they think
I
that
know.
that's the solution for everything, right? But that's not actually, and this is where people kicks in. So you need a leader who force you to move away from it, because it's not easy. The change management is the most difficult thing, and when it comes to
So,
any other department, and for supply chain, it is more important. As you said, that traditionally people are used to it and they think that's the model and nothing else to be done now. But as the situation is evolving, something which you have implemented maybe 2 months back, or a year back, can become totally absolute today, obsolete today. So you need to keep on reviewing your technology, your processes. And one big thing which previously doesn't used to come into supply chain ecosystem specifically was outside impacts. Now systems are gearing up, like good ERPs like Oracle, SAP, and all this, that they start taking inputs from outside world, like what is happening in the Swiss Canal, or what is happening in the Black Sea or Red Sea, or war impacts, tariff impacts. So those systems have started giving room into their systems, because they know if they don't do it, they will be out. So they have started giving rooms to take those inputs, to help planners and supply chain professionals to to educate the models which is already built in. So for us, we have a totally digitized platform when it comes to our ordering process, or the planning process, or demand process. It's a totally automated process we have, and now we are moving towards since our ecosystem is good enough, we are confident that whatever we have are totally digitized, without any human interventions. And now risk anticipation is much advanced and all that, and now we are moving towards adopting the AI part. And yes, we will start taking again in bits and pieces. We will not do everything at once. We have identified our bottlenecks, that okay, which processes which is manual today can further be auto optimized, and AI driven, which task which is done by human today can be automated and can be done by AI. So now, instead, apart from AI, there is a concept of AI assistants. So a lot of things can be done by, yeah. So agent concept is there now. So yeah, we are reviewing all this, and we are seeing that how we can utilize this things as.
that sounds very encouraging. But that leads to the people discussion. Like, so if you people think supply chain, because at SCM that's what we do, right? We try to give knowledge and competencies and tools to bring back as much as practical and applicable knowledge to the community. I did a poll which says, how many people are in supply chain by choice. More than 60% or 67 said, they're done by by chance, and then remaining by choice, right? And of course, now recently the supply chain education is becoming formal. And when you and me started our career 20 plus years ago, that was just not the case. Or either in finance, or you're an engineer, or you're an operations guy, come on, you're good in maths and Excel, come on, join supply chain. Now, and was it
Finance guys, so
it's direct. Exactly. So I was just before you talking to one other guy who's at a supply chain, and he's an accountant, right? And because he's just good in maths, and people think supply chain and maths, uh, and then you can survive and thrive. But that's true. But supply chain is a body of knowledge. I did a keynote at Manifest in FAR, and I said, so if you just look at the three body of knowledge, right? So if you just take supply chain planning, you need to know your sales and operation planning, demand forecasting, supply planning, MRP, capacity planning, and so on and so forth. And you take procurement have a lot of topics like your negotiation, your contract management, uh, your SRM, your supply segmentation, and so on and so forth. And if you take logistics, you have a network design, warehouse design, trade management, so on. So all of them have a lot of technicalities. Now, on the top of that, so you need all these technical competencies. And if somebody who comes in supply chain, which most people are, don't have that, then you need to have a good people's person, your presentation skills, communication skills, writing skills, and so on and so forth. Now, so there's a second pillar I think people need. And there is a third pillar people need now, which is understanding technology. I think you mentioned about agentic and AI assistant, but in my view, if you do not have a very good supply chain competencies knowledge, right, and you have always done what somebody always taught you, or unless someone tell you to do something differently, you're always gonna do what you've always done, right? Uh, you can't really leverage it. So I know I'm giving a big spiel. The point I'm trying to take you towards is knowing I know you have a certain amount of team. I'm sure you can tell how many people you've got. Is given the level of competencies you have, right? What challenge do you see in adopting AI? Because as you mentioned, data is a problem. Yes, correct. But if the people don't know the right technical competencies, they can't really leverage AI as they should.
yeah, so basically, I have a team in all the countries as well as in UAE.
Many people.
Yeah, so overall, you would say that basically we have in all the countries we have 3PL model. So core supply chain team could be very minimum. So as I told you, once we implemented all these AIs, all this automated and digitized system and demand to pay process automation and all that, we reduced a lot of headcounts. In fact, Americana is a big company, so you do the transfers in other departments as well, and so you save on people. But for me, I mean, I have like 5 direct reports for handling all this, and then see, it's not only that you have a very good demand person or planning person. They are pillars of supply chain. You need to have a very strong SNOP process with you.
Yes.
You need to have a very strong logistic network with you, or logistic setup which ensures your KPIs are done. So for example, planning guy did an expanded planning and everything is done, but then your on time and full is a disaster. So why? Because your network planning is not good. So it's a combination of the efforts. Unlike other departments, supply chain is more knitted, starting from raising the demand, having vetted through SNOP processes, then moving to planning stage, and then moving to buying stage where buyers do their efforts, and then receiving products into the restaurants, and then delivering to the store. So our supply chain starts with demand. I will exclude purchasing part and contracts because that's a different area. It starts with demand, and then ends not only at getting the product into warehouse, but delivering to the store on time and in full. So for us, for a restaurant industry specifically, OTIF is one of the major KPIs to ensure that restaurant is delivering, sales is happening without any hindrance and without any hiccups. So that's the whole process. As you say about the people, so it's not that everybody was highly competent in our team. There are people. So to run a show, you need, all kind of levels. So you need above average people, you need, upscale or, performers, you need processors, and you need doers also,
Yeah.
but yes, you keep on optimizing it, you keep on improving it. But I would say that the biggest challenge to handle here is the change management. So even my experience is that your most talented person, your most expert person in supply chain, when you tell him or you approach him that, okay, this is the new change happening, or this is the process which will improve us, the first thing which you will feel is that they will say that, no, I'm doing it for last 20 years, that worked. But no, now the new adoption is different, it will make you help. So you need to convince people that, see, if you are handling one country today, if you bring it in, you will be handling 10 countries with the same efforts. And now supply chain is so, globalized, as well as it's so competitive. And as you said that, there is an inflation, you have inventory pressures, you cannot have certain stock above threshold, you need to be work on JITs. So it is very important that people, your team, start working on exceptions. The things which is, so this is very important point, that they should start working on exceptions. Because if a person handling 10 countries or 11 countries or 6 countries and handling 4,000 or 5,000 SKUs, it is impossible for any supply chain, humanly possible, that he reviews each and every item on a daily basis, checking its safety stock on hand and all this. So you need to, unless you have a digitized process, unless you have an automated process, you will not be able to work on exceptions. So in our teams, there are people who is handling like entire KFC. I mean, one person handling entire KFC. We have 1,000 plus stores of KFCs handled by one person. He is doing the planning. Well, how? Because system support is there. The person who used to handle only 2 countries or 3 countries or 4 countries, now handling 6 countries, above 1,000 restaurant. How? Because we have a system in place. If it is Excel file or all this, humanly it will not be possible to work on a daily basis on that. Checking each and every SKUs and all this was impossible. At the same time, you need to have controls in place, such as your, what kind of safety stock you need to manage, what kind of replenishment stock levels you need to have, what kind of, alerts you need to have, and at what certain time reorder levels should kick in. So if those are in place and controlled, then it is a big chance that you will keep on optimizing your team and people will like it. Okay, they will feel that I'm not going anywhere. In fact, my capacity, as well as my expertise and my knowledge, and basically it's part of a personal growth as well, that okay, you are learning something new and you are getting yourself ready for, even if not for Americana, outer world. Where personal growth is the most important thing for some of the peoples, that they so I have very high potential team in my under me. Yeah, some might be more potential than me, technically, when it comes to technical part. But yes, they are with me because I, pursue that automation has to be there. The only way to, to move forward and to handle big businesses is through automation. There is no other way, no shortcuts.
That's very good. I think that's a great vision. I think we can maybe actually I want to leverage this. Can you give me an example where one of the processes, and I think you already gave a good example where one person is managing 1,000 plus KFC restaurant. So I just want to utilize this time. If you can give me one example where a process was pretty manual, right? Excel and emails and whatever, right? And what automation you have implemented and how you implemented to get the, I think, increase the productivity of a person in the process.
So, a great example I will give it to you. Actually, we used to have SNOP meetings. We have like 48 meetings a month. Okay, because we do it by brand, by country, and all that.
Right.
2 years back, when we put the agenda that we need to go after it, this is the core of our operations business, and our KPIs. We need to, and for the business, for the sales and all that, we start preparing decks and this and that, and all departments coming in and focusing on it, and all those efforts start kicking in. um, uh, Today, I would say that, and those meetings used to be of 1 hour plus, people debating and this and that. Today, those meetings are getting reduced, some big brands and country like KFC UAE, which is one of the big, KFC KSA, which is one of the big, KFC Egypt, which is one of the big. Those meeting finishes within half an hour. Okay, and there is no one taking notes and those kind of stuff, action plans and all this. In last 1 year, almost 1 year, we have trained the co-pilot enough that it does everything for us. After the meeting, it generates, it automates, it gives us action plan, it emails to everyone, and nobody has to do anything.
And they have to follow, and then it follow up as well. Okay.
Follow up as well. And we used to have, when we started, it was like 70-75% accuracy. People were getting disheartened. No, I have to do a lot of things after that. I told them, keep on doing it, man. This is machine learning. Okay, so it will take some time, but you will reach it. Today it is 96 to 97% accuracy, and even nobody needs to. And when it comes to action and all that, it is perfect accuracy. And I tell you that those whole thing suppose used to be done by a senior manager level. Today, the same handled by same person, but that person is now doing 10 other things, because that's a very small part of the total agenda. So that's
No,
how it
I
automates
think
things.
that's a very good example where how much time people invest in taking notes, writing, sending minutes, and all that. So I think that's a
Yeah.
very good example. Okay, cool. So let's. I think I want to move the discussion towards the execution challenges. Right. I know that you're even given the one example, but execution, especially when you are innovating, and as you mentioned earlier, the change management is a challenge, right? It brings in a lot of execution challenges. And given the teams are limited and there are multiple has to do, and we as a supply chain people likes to be busy, we're always busy and we always pretend to be busy, right? So what are the execution challenges you have, and what's your strategies to cater that?
See, basically, there is no shortcut to cater that. The thing is that the leader needs to be engaged and involved in that. If you leave it to the people that, okay, he's doing it and he will keep on doing it, I don't need to check it ever, that's not going to happen. So you need to engage yourself up to a certain extent and keep your check and balances to ensure that the processes, the automation which is being implemented are in use. That is the most important thing. That you can have multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars, or equipment, IT solutions and all that, but if you are not using it, there is no use. uh, People implement systems, and then when you check, okay, how last time you have taken any report out of it, they will say, oh, it was taken 1 year back. So it is important that you are engaged and you ensure the utilization. So yes, in my team also, there were people, okay, everything is implemented, MRP is running fine, and I have a control file which is outside system. Okay, and that is my go-to file where I check everything and ensure that everything is right. Okay, so that's where leader's role is to educate, to communicate, and say, guys, you need to be out of this manual tracking and all this. So today I would tell you that my tracking or audit trails or anything is everything automated. Even the forecast accuracies and all this, there is no human intervention. It's system driven, can be generated anytime. So that's what you have to do as a leader. You need to be engaged with the team, put your check and balances in place to ensure that systems are being utilized. And yes, you do your mid-year reviews and your year-end reviews to ensure that. And basically, once you start doing it, that will reflect. Your emergency sourcing will reduce drastically. Your stock out situations and all this will improve. So basically, I also monitor that, okay, I'm going to be out of stock. Okay, how the alert is coming in? Is it coming 1 month back? Is it any improved? Or I know 2 months back or 3 months back that this out of stock is going to happen. So the more earlier the alert, it means things are working. The more delayed it means that something is not right. The insights are not correct. So that's how we made it.
That's good. So I have a question. So I've also co-founded a AI powered planning company called Plantrix, right? So at some point I'll give you a demo of that as well. But one problem we are trying to solve using predictive and prescriptive analytics is let's call it, for example, out of stock root cause analysis. So even when I was supply chain manager, right, at Eaton in UK and in Bistron, so if we ship certain product late, less you even assume on time delivery OTS is 90%, so we are shipping 10% late. So I used to ask my people, okay, I need to know this 10% or number of order lines we have not shipped, why we are late. So, and then everybody's doing root cause analysis, spending a lot of time. Okay, it was a order higher than forecast, or supply was late, or manufacturing was late, or our internal people did not do pick package shit. They used to really, and it was like kind of blame game as well in between as well, right? It was quite funny. So my point is, have you managed to figure out a way to do this root cause analysis and attribution of root cause quickly?
So yeah, basically it's very easy in our system, at least I would say. But to start with, I'll tell you that this blame game can be avoided if you have a very strong SNOP process. That stops all these kind of blame games, right? But secondly, yes, the in supply chain and nowadays there is a lot of outside element which everybody was perfect, timely informed on SNOP, timely orders is placed, everything is done, and then still you are out of stock. Why? Because ship gets stuck in Black Sea issue, Swiss Canal issue, and all that, and you cannot do anything. And that's the place where it is important that you get alert earlier than before. Like for example, your ship is stuck and you are waiting for a info from the supplier, and you have a CIF term, right? So you are waiting for the supplier to give you the info when the ship will arrive, and that someone over there in their company sleep for one week and give you the information maybe 1 week late. Okay, you can always go and check on the shipping lines tracker, but again, so there are systems now available that the platforms are available where which you can integrate with your system, and they give you the live tracking of the ships. Where are they going? Where are they moving? What is the predictability? What are the issues which is happening with those lines, and how much time it will take? So it prepares you. So that kind of a thinking should be embedded now in supply chain function to get most out of it. So that's how you need to tackle it. And the root cause in our case is very simple, because we have a strong SNOP process. We know that, okay, what is coming in, is the order placed, not placed, and all that. Now the AI role is going to kick in after this. Now once you kick in AI should send the alert, or AI should do that, guys, you need to place an order, you have not placed it. The agent will do this for you, instead of going in. Yeah. So instead of you going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. So, we need to move towards first from using agentic AI, a more supervised AI, where actually Asana should say yes or no before just trusting everything. Yeah.
Exactly. So as I said that, I so we have Oracle Fusion working in place, automated system and all that, and they have Redwood, which is everybody knows that that is their AI platform. We are also working on it. So maybe we can implement it last year, but no, we cannot do it because we were not ready. At least from supply chain, I could say that I wanted to ensure that whatever AI reads, it reads from the accurate information, because one container or two container can make or break things for me. you know. So or one planning or another planning can make and break for me. So that's how we are doing step by step. But yes, we are on a very right path to keep on adopting things and improving things.
Fantastic. So, given your experience, that's the last question, right? And when you experience in industry for 25 years, and mashallah, you have great knowledge and experience, and you implement some high quality systems and processes. If you want to give one advice to somebody who's starting a career or maybe mid-air to get to where you are, what would be that one advice?
Uh, don't be so whatever you learn, don't think that it is enough. Keep on searching for more. Keep on adopting change, because that's the only thing will take you to the level where you see yourself in future. If you have a mentor or someone and you just follow him and then you don't do your exploration journey, you might be behind. So keep adopting change, keep searching yourself, have the appetite to go into details yourself, not the surfacial informations or someone told you and all this. So always research, always go into the detail and ready to adopt the change.
Well done. So, ready to love the change, continue to learn and unlearn, and do this, in-depth exploration of the concept. Very good. Well, thank you for your time. It's been pleasant to talk to you. Thank you for sharing your experience. And
Thank you so much.
also thank you for audience for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Ciao.